Okay, on the bench today, out of a 1956 Olds 88, we have the Jetaway transmission. Okay, and the reason why this is here is we are going to seal the front of the transmission. Actually, it's here for a seal job, but I already did the pan, I did the linkage, I did the extension housing with a new rear seal. I did film with the pan also, you can see what it looks like on the inside, so I'll put that into the video after the intro and then before we get into it. But I thought it'd be pretty cool to do a seal job in the front with you guys. The converter is not going to come out because we got to manually take the converter apart in pieces. There's bolts that hold the back on where an O-ring is, and then there's a series of snap rings that hold the converter in place. And then we're going to take the aluminum housing off, which houses the front seal and the O-ring for the housing where it meets the case. So we're going to take it, what we're going to do today, because I'm very limited for time, is we're just going to take the converter out. I thought it would be pretty cool to take the converter out with you guys, because normally, you know, nowadays with the transmissions, when the transmission comes out, you take the converter out, turn it over in a bucket to let it drain, and then when you go back, you just spin the rebuilt one in, and up it goes into the car. This we're physically going to take apart and see all the internals of the converter. So again, we're doing a seal job on this. There is a company in Jersey called Fatsco, which specializes in these cars, these old cars for parts. All right, and what I bought was basically, you know, half of a kit, like an external paper and rubber kit, if you will. You know, just enough for the external seals. It comes with 2 pan gaskets, one was smaller, and it's going to come with 2 front seals. So we'll try the seal on the converter hub and see which one fits, so we know which one we got to use. And of course, there's only one O-ring for the housing here. And you know, nowadays this stuff is up there, it's expensive, it's not that easy to get, but if whoever owned the car would have went to my dad's shop, well, this shop, back when he opened in 1967 for seals, oil seal leaks on all cars, $50. All right, if this transmission needed to be overhauled, in 1967, we have the Jetaway, included a converter with, you know, basically rebuilding the converter, new seals and stuff. There's also washers in there. Jetaway, all Pontiac, Cadillac, and Oldsmobile, 56 to 58, and there's a 58 Olds, $120. Now you forget it. Much more than that. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to get a little closer here. This converter, you know, it's almost like on the bench, but I can turn it, you know, when I move this around, the ring gear gets caught. But there's not going to be any oil in here because there's a drain plug here that I took out, and I let all the oil drain into a bucket. So when I, you know, had the, and plus I had the pan down and everything too, so everything pretty much got drained. So I actually, it was much easier to work with the converter out, but I really wanted to do this with you guys. So, I mean, it just takes all of 5 minutes to put back together. So I put it all back together, and now we're going to just pull it apart, just the converter. And then probably in a day or so, once the weekend is here, we're gonna take the housing off, and I'm gonna clean up the housing in my wash tank also, as well as the back of this converter. And I'll clean the other stuff up by hand, and then we'll put the new seals on it, and we'll put everything back together again. And this actually was sealed probably a little over 20 years ago by one of our shops that we had a few towns over. My uncle was there, and he would run that shop. But, you know, we see the brunt of the leak, you know, coming out of the front. But I bought a whole kit anyway to do all the seals, just so there's just, you know, cover all angles, and I don't want any leaks once this thing leaves. But the main leaks seem to be coming out of the front. You know, when I had the converter out, I was kind of taking a look at the front seal. It felt a little hard, but, you know, after all those years, it could happen. It was definitely over 20 years ago. So let me get a little closer, and we're going to take the converter apart, and we'll put it on the bench. And then again, in a couple of days, once the weekend is here, we will finish this up. So we're going to take these bolts out first, and of course you have to, you know, bolt it up to the flex plate. So we got, you know, 4 bolts that are out, which I have marked 1, 2, 3, and 4, and I also marked the front of the converter where the hub is as well. So it's going to go back exactly as it came apart. All right. There's also 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 studs in between each bolt. So I have this marked, and we're going to pull it apart, clean it, put new seals on it. I have the converter seal, you know, I'll show you everything, and we'll put it back exactly how we took it apart. There's also 2 dowels in here. There's one here, and there's one here, you know, opposite sides. So let me get a little closer, and what we'll do is just go ahead and pull the converter apart and go from there. So let me get a little closer, and we'll get started. All right, here's the unit with the pan and extension housing off. Right before I put the pan on. All right, back with you. So what we're going to do now is we're going to take this belt housing off so we can clean it up and change the seal behind the belt housing to the case. All right, so I'm just going to kind of prop this thing up on a block of wood here. Like that. And then we're going to go ahead and take the 5/8 bolts out. Need a little extension. That, and we're going to knock this front seal out, which to me is no good. Probably maybe where it was, the leak was from, but you know, it was like all cleaned out here, so just got to really reseal the whole thing. Here is the seal that we're going to be changing. All right, and here's this you know, bowl type piece that you need those special tools to take this thing apart and put it together. And this, I believe, again, is a 2/4. So we're just going to leave this just like that. I have my tank hot, so we're going to put the bell housing in. Let's knock the seal out. I'm going to put the bell housing in. I'm going to put the bottom part, you know, where the flywheel is for the converter, clean that up. There's an O-ring there. And I'm going to clean all this up here too. Let's get this front seal out. Okay, so let's take a look. let's take a look at this seal and check it out, how much space there is in there. This rubber feels real nice. Got the spring tension, the spring in there to keep tension on the seal. And take a look at this one, how much it's peeled back. There's no room at all like there is on this one, if you look at them both. So chances are, you know, plus this, let's see how it fits on the converter. But this was probably the brunt of the leak here. Let me just write this down a little bit. Got a little drag, not too much, not like this one does. So again, big difference in how the seal, you know, the original one that was in there, or when it was worked on at one point, is way peeled back. So I'm going to clean all this up in here, wash this up. Okay, this here I'm going to wash up in my wash tank because the O-ring seals against this here. So I'm going to clean up myself, along with these other parts here. Okay, and this O-ring is going to be changed. Alright, so I'm going to clean this up, and the bell housing up. I want to clean again all this up where they had the seal, because I got a whole bunch of crap around here, so I just want to clean all that up. I'll wash that up, wash this up, clean the other stuff by hand. I'll be back, and we'll put this all back together again, you know, the front of the unit, put it back together and be ready to go back in the car. All right, so I will be back with you guys shortly with everything all nice and clean. All right, so I got everything cleaned. Here is the bell housing now. And this went through the tank also, so this is nice and clean. And this one I washed up by hand. Again, the O-ring, you know, is going to sit around there to prevent this from leaking. All right, so first we're going to put the bell housing on, put the bolts back in, and get that done. So we have our front seal, and again, let's just confirm. Fits nice on the hub. Okay. Now, I like to put a little trans gel in here, so when I'm hitting this in, the spring won't pop out. I'm not going to be hitting that hard, but sometimes when you're knocking seals in, it's happened. It happened to me. Okay. All right, now there's really not much of a chamfer here. Let me just see if I can switch angles here real quick. Give me 1 second. All right, so I'm going to put some Permatex on this seal here. I gotta very carefully knock this in. I'm gonna try to get this thing maybe a little even. Okay. Good. Now, this is the biggest bushing driver I have, which is too small. So, where is it? Let's see how this is. Alright, so we have this, and I'm going to put a bushing driver in the center there. Okay, perfect. Perfect. Okay. Let's do one more. Okay, we got the O-ring we're gonna put in. Oop. So let's get this down where it belongs. Alright, now this we want to just kind of push down. Okay. Okay, so now I want to bring this a little closer to me. And make sure you guys can still see. All right, let's put the bell housing on. She's flush. Okay, everything looks good. Okay, good, good. Everything's turning. That's where I like to check them. Okay, now we're gonna put the converter on. All right. All right, let me just get set up for this and I'll be right back. All right, so now we can put the converter back in and it'll be all back together. So I'm gonna put a little trans gel on the hub here. Okay. All right, now we have our planetary. So this has splines in it, but this we're going to put in first. Our ring gear, sorry. All right, so that's going to go. Line up these and these also. Okay, there we go. Okay, that's in. And we have our splined washer. Okay. Sun gear. Okay. And two washers. Alright. And we'll put this section in. And then we're going to put our first snap ring in, the largest one. that's in. All right. And let me get my smaller. Okay, so I'm going to use these for the smaller one. We got 2 of those. All right, so this is in. Okay. And then our other snap ring. Okay, that's in. Okay, and we have our plate here. All right, so let's get our large O-ring. All right, so we got 3 facing up. Okay, let's pick the camera back up. So I have number 3 facing up. Let's find the number 3 here. There we go. And we'll just line her up. Okay. That is it. Thing looks good. So let's put our bolts back in. Okay, so let's see. So there's number 2. So go here, skip 1. We do 5. Okay. That's it. A couple more. Skip over that. Okay, so that's it. So we have one here, one here, here. Perfect. Okay. All right, so that's it for this 1956 Olds 88 Jetaway transmission leaking. So I sealed the entire transmission. The extension housing gasket resealed, linkage seal, hand gasket, and I wanted to do the front with you guys. I thought it was pretty cool to take the converter apart and stuff. And that's it. So come Monday, push the car in, put it back in the car, oil it up, and away it goes. So I thank you guys for watching. Have a great day, and we'll see you next one.